Hello, everybody. I'm Joe, and I do CSS battles for fun. These are older battles from April 28th, 29th, and 30th of 2024. Let's get right to it. Let's see if we can get these done. All right. Thing number one. What have we got here? Definitely feels like we would like this to be several elements. For some reason, I have in my mind 3 elements, a B and a C element, and they're all display flex. So display flex is so let's give them heights and weights, and the second one is going to be different. They're all going to have a border radius, and they're going to be moved around a little bit. So let's put margins on the body of 0 and give them a height of 100 and a width of 20 to start with. The background. You got to spell background right. There it is. There's thing number 1. Okay, and let's put a margin of 0 on that as well. All right, so this margin of 0 at the top, and then 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So the width, so I got 3 of them. So we need a gap of 10 pixels. That'll at least show us where we are at. Width of 40, 50, there it is, and then a little more gap, 2, great, and the B is a little bit wider, width of 60, 80, 90, 100. Okay, and that looks like we've got the pieces that we want. So what do we do? How do we create this? I'm not. I feel like justify. No, I want align items, don't I? Align. I'm just spelling things wrong today. Align items center. All right. This is what we've got so far. Forgive me. Let's give a bigger height to the height of this one is right on. So it's a circle. Height is also 100. Great. And then this one, height, let's just call it 200. Let's give it a border radius. And that gets us our shapes. So let's variabilize height and width, var dash dash h or 200, and then var dash dash w or 50, and then we can use CSS custom variables and get the same result with a fewer characters, more or less, not that many fewer characters. And then I feel like we're going to use translate, transform translate on each one of these. Transform translate y of some number, var dash dash y or 0. And so the first one, strictly, or actually no, this one is going to have, so I'm going to need a variable for C. So let's do the first, we'll do the last one first. So that dash dash y is going to be 100 pixels or something. There, and that moved it down. How about 80 pixels? How about 75 pixels? There it is. All right, and then this translate y is 0 because he's not going to move because he's right where he needs to be. And this one is going to be minus 75 pixels. And that's how we do that. Let's submit that and make sure we're 100% match. So what have we done here? We got flex, showed you align item center, which is aligning everything. And then we're altering that by using a transform and a translate y. A translate just means move in x and y space. So you translate would take two parameters and x side to side and y up and down. Okay, so let's minify and replace, and that's perfectly acceptable. I don't think it's a particularly good score. I think I've gotten better scores with terser code, but that's not why we're doing this today. So, all right, next. Okay, so these diagonal guys where you're rotating can be a little tricky. That's okay. We're gonna have fun with it. All right, let's do it. Let's use the blank template, and we're going to put this dark red on the background, and we're going to do a 0 margin on the okay, let's put the correct background here. And what I would like to do is set a height and width on this guy and put him right where I want him. So height, so the height is going to be something like 20, 30, 40, 20, something like that. And then our width is going to be 100, no, 200, a little taller, 40. All right, now let's use margins to move him into place. 200, 205. Okay, so the height is wrong, 30, and then 40, 50, 60, 70, 75. And our width is 210, 20, 30, 40, 50. There it is. That's our step 2. So that's in exactly the right place. So when we make 2 more, I'll put add attributes so that I can set these. I could be using classes, right? But class equals B and class equals C is more code, so I use the attribute selectors because it's short. And what are we going to do with these? We're going to rotate them. So rotate. So what's that angle? Is it 40 degrees? 50, 60? 40, 50, and then we got to move it, right? So one thing we do is use margin. So I think I'm going to use margin today. I'm going to do margins on all 4 sides because otherwise you get some fun, weird effects. How about 40 degrees instead? No, for 50, 60. Oh, 60, so an even 60 degrees. And then we use a so so let's see. Should that be negative? Yeah, it should be. Oh, 130, 120, and then positive number here, 20, 30, 40, 15, oh, 16. Oh, dead on. Love it. So that's the second one. I sure hope. Oh, and then this one, the rotation on number C, attribute C, is minus 60, which is great. There it is. Okay, and then the margin in this guy, we just have very similar numbers. How about a minus? What if we just copy and paste? What do we get if we copy and paste those same numbers? It gets even higher, so we don't need it to go so high. How about 40? And then this number needs to be negative to pull it over. Okay, not as high, 30. Oh, there it is. Do we need these middle margins? Yes, we do in that case. And how about these? We don't. So that is the way to do that guy. I'm going to submit, and hopefully that's a 100% match. If it's not, then we have other work to do. But it looks like a 100% match. Not too bad. Okay, so, all right. What do we need to do to variabilize this? So I can put rotate var --r or 0. And then I can put a variable -r is that, and -r is that. Margin is a funny one because if I set this margin, I'm just going to do --m. Oh, that screwed me up. That did screw me up. Unless I set the default margins back. All right, so we're not going to do that. But this is a reminder that the paragraph tag has default margins on it that are going to come into play. So when you're doing a CSS battle, choose your elements carefully. I choose the paragraph element, sort of on purpose because I like thinking about what that paragraph element is. It's also self-closing, which means I don't need to do a closing tag. And so that's slightly short code, but it does come with the burden of some default margins on it. So let's minify and unit replace, and then we're done. This is a fun one. I don't know if it's a particularly good score. We'll find out. I don't think it's any better than what I've gotten in the past. Oh, no, that's a better score than I've gotten in the past. So I'll take it. I'm happy with that. All right, and then look at this guy. This is some silliness here. So I think these are great big elements that are rotated into place, right? Like, oh, very complicated. Or is it a border? Yeah, I don't even know what this is. And I don't remember how I did it before. So I'm going to use the blank template again. And let's use borders to see if we can replicate that shape. I'm going to set a 0 margin on the body and border 30 pixels solid. And then we'll rotate 45 degrees. And then let's do an aspect ratio of 1. We don't need a background. But we do need, so probably thicker, 40. And we're going to use that same display flex trick. Display flex, align items. And then we're going to set some margins on this guy. Margin 0, 0, 0. So I feel like I want to set a negative margin here, -100. Yeah, that'll do. That will do. How about -40, 45, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 55. So with so if I then do border radius, pixels. That's part of what I need. And in fact, that looks like it's a perfect match. So that's really good. That's really good. But it does mean these have to be bigger. How about 200? All right. So I think I've made the core shape that I need. Each one of these is going to be basically the same, but they need to be margined into position. So I'm going to do var dash dash m or that, and we'll just do one at a time, like so. Okay, so I think this margin just needs to be bigger. 60, 70, 80, 90, 94, 93, 4, no, actually 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Now, we got a problem. Our problem is we're using display flex to put these in position. And we don't want to do that, because we want each one to be independent, and so we can't use display flex in the way that I was just doing. But I can add margin. 10. There it is. So let's make a second one. And by adjusting the margins of each subsequent one, we can put it where we want. Oh, and I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the second one. There it is. Okay, so what is this little nub here down here? That's because of that. So dash dash m, and let's do. I'm going to do 4 numbers, and I'm going to move this into position here. So whatever it's closest to. How about 60 and 60? 60 and 100? 90, or minus 100, 95, 94, 94. So that's the second one. All right, let's do a third one. And that's going to be attribute C. And using margins, we will move him into place. Again, I will start with all zeros. So top margin, minus 300. There it is. And then some margin here on the left. Getting there. How about 60 again? And then 6, 30, 40, 50, 51, 52. There it is. So that minus 652 margin that is a weird number. Like, that is a rather high number. Could also do this with translate, but that's not what I chose. Once you've started down the path of a solution, you're kind of committed for one like this. Okay, so this guy, do 4 margins, and then this one goes higher, 2, 3, and then negative margin on the top. Okay, so minus 90 maybe. 1, 2, 3. All right, how about 299, 298, 207, 4, 296, and that's it, I think. Let's submit and find out if we have a perfect match. Well, I don't know about perfect, but if we've matched 100% pixel for pixel, and we have, and that's a better score than I've gotten in the past, so I must be getting better at this. Trim off some of the extra semicolons, minify, unit replace. I put margin of 0 on the body, and I'm disinclined to remove it, but I'll show you what it does if I do. Everything just gets shifted slightly. So all those margins, the interlocking margins between, that are the relationships between each of those elements, starts at the body, and each of the relationships are still the same. Probably if I did unset that margin on the body, I would have to reset each one, I think. Well, let's try it. Why make things easy on ourselves? Okay, let's see. So what margins do we need to do? So we just unset maybe the top margin and the left margin, so 8. And then 8 here, which would be minus 168 or 182. Nah, that was a bad idea, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave it as is. I think we showed that we got it done. Not seizing defeat from the jaws of victory in this case. So resubmit. All right. Okay. So these again were from April of 2024. That was the 28th, and that's the 29th, and that's the 30th, and that closes out April. I've been taking a break from doing this backlog of CSS battles, but I do enjoy returning to them when I get a chance to. And I hope you're having a great day. Be good to each other out there, and make a web page. All right, bye-bye.